मैं ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਹਰਜਾਪ ਤੇ ਹਰੇਕ ਮੰਡੇ 7 ਵਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਆਪਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਸਾਡੀ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਦੀਆਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਬਾਹਰ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ NRIਆਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਦੇਸ਼ ਦੀਆਂ ਤੇ ਜੋ ਅੱਜ ਕੱਲ ਦੇ ਇਸ਼ੂ ਹੈਗੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਅਫੈਕਟ ਕਰਦੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ So let's talk with Harjap.
ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਜੀ ਐਂਡ ਵੈਲਕਮ ਟੂ ਦ ਸ਼ੋ। ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਫਰਾਈਡੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਕਿ ਅੱਜ ਦਾ ਜੋ ਦਿਨ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਮੀਗ੍ਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਦੀ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕਰੀਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕਰੀਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕੋਈ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਦੀ ਟੌਪਿਕ ਬਾਰੇ ਜੋ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਇਸ਼ੂ ਹੋਵੇ ਜਾਂ ਕੋਈ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਦੇ ਗੈਸਟ ਨਾਲ ਇੰਟਰਵਿਊ ਕਰੀਏ ਜਿਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਾਡੀ ਵੀ ਨੌਲੇਜ ਵਧੇ ਔਰ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਵੀ ਨੌਲੇਜ ਵਧੇ। ਅੱਜ ਵੀ ਜੋ ਸਾਡੇ ਗੈਸਟ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ ਇੱਕ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲ ਪਰਸਨ ਹੈ ਬਿਕੋਜ਼ she's a female and she's singing in the UK Bhangra industry, so that makes you special anyway by default, but also she's the daughter of somebody who's very famous who is Bhangra industry and a legend, but she's a trendsetter in her own right because she was I think one of the first UK born Bhangra artists female to start singing and she's back after a big absence. So welcome Munna Singh.
Thank you ji.
ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ।
ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ।
ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੱਸੋ ਤੁਸੀਂ 6 ਸਾਲ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਗਏ ਸੀ? ਛੁੱਟੀ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਹੀ ਲੰਮੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋ ਗਈ ਐਤਕੀ?
ਥੋੜੀ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਲੰਬੀ ਸੀ। Well 6 years ਹਾਂਜੀ 6 ਸਾਲ ਬਾਅਦ
big gap.
Very big gap but 3 albums release ਕਰਕੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਇਦਾਂ ਸੀ ਕਿ I need a bit of a break.
Right.
3 albums I did back to back actually.
Back to back, yeah.
And ਉਸ ਜ਼ਮਾਨੇ ਵਿੱਚ albums ਦੇ 10 ਗਾਣੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ and to put one album together my last album Stronger took 18 months.
Wow.
So in those 18 months ਮੈਂ ਬਾਹਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿਤੇ ਗਈ ਮੈਂ ਕੰਮ ਤੋਂ ਸਿੱਧਾ ਸਟੂਡੀਓ ਵਿੱਚ
Right.
I would work through the night 3-4 ਵਜੇ ਤੱਕ ਫਿਰ ਸਵੇਰੇ 6 ਵਜੇ ਵਾਪਸ ਕੰਮ ਤੇ so after that I took a bit of a gap and then I did a single with the late great Lab Janjua ji Sadi Marzi. ਤੇ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ I did a couple of film projects with my dad.
Okay.
ਤੇ ਉਸ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ there were quite a few personal projects ਜੋ ਮੇਰੀ ਥੋੜੀ ਲਿਸਟ ਜੀ ਸੀਗੀ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਆਪ I want to fulfill those.
Personal ਕੰਮ
Exactly. ਤੇ my mum and my dad both are very involved in charity work as well. ਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ I was very active in helping them. So ਇਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਬਸ 6 ਸਾਲ ਏਦਾਂ ਹੀ ਲੰਘੇ. I can't believe how quickly time has gone by. But actually in the gap I must mention ਕਿ a couple of years back ਮੈਂ 2 ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਵੀ ਗਾਏ ਸੀਗੇ with Veer Manpreet Singh ਤੇ we released that on my dad's album ਸਬੇ ਕਟਰਾਮ ਬੋਲੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਐਕਚੁਅਲੀ ਅਲਾਪ ਨੇ ਉਹ 20 ਸਾਲ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਰਿਲੀਜ਼ ਕੀਤੀ ਸੀ ਐਲਬਮ ਪਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਫਿਰ ਦੀ ਰੀਮਾਸਟਰ ਕਰਕੇ ਰਿਲੀਜ਼ ਕੀਤੀ ਸੀ ਤੇ ਉਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਮੈਂ 2 ਸ਼ਬਦ ਗਾਏ ਸੀਗੇ so lots has been happening and recently ਜਿਹੜੀ ਫਿਲਮ ਆਈ ਸੀ 4 ਸਾਹਿਬਜ਼ਾਦੇ ਰਾਈਜ਼ ਆਫ ਬੰਦਾ ਸਿੰਘ ਬਹਾਦਰ ਉਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਮੈਂ ਔਰ ਮੇਰੇ ਡੈਡ ਨੇ ਓਪਨਿੰਗ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਇੱਕ ਓਂਕਾਰ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਕੰਪੋਜ਼ ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀ ਤੇ we sang it as well so there has been lots going on and like I said time has just flown by but after this gap I was an audience member for the last however many years and I could see ਕਿ ਜਦੋਂ ਵੀ ਮੈਂ ਕਿਤੇ ਬਾਹਰ ਜਾਣਾ ਹੋਵੇ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਜਾਂ ਵੈਡਿੰਗਸ ਤੇ you know music ਜੋ DJs ਵਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਸੀਗੇ all of the music seemed to be from India ਤੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਇਦਾਂ ਸੀ ਕਿ you know it's good music is coming from India but there needs to be the same representation from the UK. And from like my dad's alap days, you know, the bands that were around and then even when I started in the music scene, the music scene now has changed so much. I sat down at home and I said to my mum and dad, I think it's time now, I need to do something. So, and that's how the idea came then for ਅਸੀਂ ਬੈਠ ਕੇ plan ਕੀਤਾ ਕਿ ਨਵਾਂ ਗਾਣਾ release ਕਰੀਏ.
So one of the things people don't really know you do have a regular job as well, right?
I do. Yes, it's my passion. Music has always been a passion. I have a day job.
Right.
I'm a banker by profession. So I've been in banking for many years, but singing has been since I was born. Obviously, a LARP group, my dad, you know, from very young age. The band used to come home every Tuesday, Thursday rehearsal hundi si main I used to sit on the gabbe you know I used to listen to them playing and watching dad perform all around the world. I traveled with them and I actually sang with Alap. My first performance on stage was at the age of 6. They ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਮੈਂ live performances ਕਰਦੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਸੀ, and I used to do many programs with them. And that's my interest in music has always been there from a young age.
Was that a natural progression? Or did you think, right, because it can work two ways, right?
Yeah.
You probably had enough of music, you could have thought, oh my God, I'm never doing this, right? Or did you think, right, no, this is just natural, this is just something that's going to happen?
It was so natural. I mean, my mum and dad never ever said to me, "Nahi, tu aayi line farni hai gaya." Actually,
well, obviously that's why they said to bank.
That actually banking I just fell into, to be honest. But even through school and college, I was very active in music. But it was always something, a passion of mine. You know, I can't go through the day without not listening to music or humming a tune or singing. You know, and just very naturally, it would I just knew that I was going to have music. It was going to be a big part of my life, and that's how it happened. But obviously, for a female. When I started doing the music professionally,
there weren't many about. Not UK born. Anyway,
no, exactly. And also, I think a lot of families used to think it's not a good profession to go into.
Yeah.
So
a lot still do.
A lot still do, exactly. But I think for me, I've been very fortunate. My mum and dad, my whole family has always supported me, and obviously, you know, I've had that guidance. You know, you have to portray yourself in a certain way, and you know, I've watched my dad all these years. He's always portrayed himself very humbly, very respectfully, and he's promoting Punjabi music in a very nice way, and that's what I've learnt. So, and that's what I've put in my music as well.
Now, it was quite easy for you because you had a platform because of your dad, right? So you could have easily just thought, right, I'm just going to come in and sing my stuff. But did you actually undergo any training, or did you think, right, or did your dad say, no, tu aa kam nahi karna, pehla tu sara kuch sikh ke aana? And what training did you undergo? How was it? Explain to like people at home thinking, right, you know, she's probably had an easy ride or something.
No, definitely not.
Probably harder, right?
It is, because there's so much pressure as well. When I first did my first album, you know, there was all this pressure that, oh my God, Channi di kudi ne album release karni hai, pata nahi kiddan di ho, you know, shaunk hona, bas idda, you know. And I actually undertook classical training from very young age. I was about maybe 7-8 years old, and my Ustad ji was Musa Puri ji, who sadly he's passed away. But I used to learn classical singing from him, and actually at that age, you know, when you think, oh God, main nahi karna, because he used to really say, nahi iddan gana, you know, tid choga.
Dal choga, yes. There's always two.
He just say, badam khaya kar, takadi awaaz bana, you know. And I used to, every Monday we used to go for lessons, and I used to say to my mum, aaj mera tid dukhda, you know, I used to make an excuse. But my mum used to say, my dad used to say, no, my mum used to go with me every week. And I used to learn the rags, and she used to write them in the book, and I used to come and practice. But I took training, and then, like I said, through school and college, I was in every single school performance possible, and I used to do all the shows. It was just natural. So it was hard work. It was hard work, but I enjoyed it.
So you know your rag pairvis and rag basants and
you know what?
stuff like this.
But the thing is, I don't.
Your komal surs.
But I don't actually carry on practicing. And the thing is that with work that's come in, when I used to travel in the car, I used to sit in my car in my own space. I used to sing riyaz, you know, and everything. Now on the train, I have my headphones on, and I think
Not now.
you know, like humming away. But it is important to do riyaz, and when I get a chance, my dad and me, we will practice together, have a tanpura, and you know, so yeah.
Wow. Now, from your first release, which was probably on a reel or a CD.
Not that long ago. It was on CD.
It was on CD, right?
Yes. So, and there were cassettes as well.
And there were cassettes, reel. We used to call it reel. You used to get stuck in the tape, and you had to come out. But from that now to your new release now called Kasilvata, right? Because it's not on a reel, it's not on a CD, right? They've become obsolete.
Completely, yeah.
How does that like just throw you? Do you just think, well, hold on, this game has totally changed now?
It has changed a lot. I mean, we were just talking earlier, I've seen the difference. You know, we used to release CDs at least, and there used to be iTunes and, you know, digital platforms, but now it's like oh, no, you don't release CDs anymore.
No,
There's no sales in it. You know, it's all digital. I was like, okay, but I get so many people asking me, "Acha, meri CD copy chahiye hai, sign karke chahiye hai." I said, I'll now say to them, "Tusi thoda phone de diyo, main sign kar deni hai kyunki
CD ਤਾਂ ਬਣੀ ਨਹੀਂ
CD nahi hai." And it's surprising how the industry has changed, but that's the way it is. You know, the music industry has changed a lot, and again, from albums, it's all become now singles. And people are releasing single after single after single, and you're seeing very less artists releasing albums. So there's been a big change.
Was it better in them days or was it better now?
I liked those days. Yeah, I'm old school, you know.
Old school.
I like to have a physical thing in my hand.
You want to play panjapon, you want to cheat, you want to cheat.
I want to look at it, and I want to look at the inlay, and I want to read the credits.
Oh
you
my
know?
God, the inlays and the thank yous and stuff. Yeah, and you have the name of the musicians.
Yeah, that's what I like, you know. And it's been a bit of a culture shock, you know, to see that change. But even social media, like back in those days, there was email.
Yeah.
And
we used to have Netscape Navigator, and it used to like dial up, and it used to take like 3 hours just to load the page, and it's going, and if ਘਰ ਦਾ phone block ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਸੀਗਾ, and ਉਧਰੋਂ ਗਾਲਾਂ ਪੈਣੀਆਂ ਸੀ, ਉਹ ਤੂੰ internet ਤੇ ਬੈਠੇ blocked her phone, like it used to come engaged.
And I think on your mobile phones as well, you didn't have like videos and all
texts,
that.
That's it, laptops.
Text, exactly, you know.
No
and
WhatsApp, no Facebook,
nothing like
nothing
that. So it has really, really advanced a lot, and I haven't been on social media for 6 years.
Yeah, why is that? You're not very active like every other ਕਲਾਕਾਰ, right? And ਕੋਈ ਜੇ ਉਹ ਕਿਸੇ ਦਾ ਗਾਣਾ ਵੀ ਕਾਪੀ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਤਾਂ ਉਹ ਸੋਸ਼ਲ ਮੀਡੀਆ ਤੇ ਪਾ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਆ, right? So on social media, let alone make their own one. Yeah, if they do a cover version, it's all over social media, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, everywhere, right? But we don't see that with you. So you don't update your statuses. I've hardly ever seen you on Twitter. You know, I've hardly ever seen you on Instagram. I don't understand. So I'm thinking, right, so has she not got a hold of this yet? Or is it John Bodge that this is too much, and she's thinking, you know what, I'm going to stay off this. I'm not going to be maybe, you know, available to everyone as much as everyone else is. Or
that was over the 6 years. I used to, when Facebook started, I used to be on Facebook. Nava chahunda, exactly.
Then you forget what date that is. Yes, it's all the same.
And so I was on Facebook and stuff, and then you've got your text, and then you've got your WhatsApp, and then you've got your this and that, and then it just became like ever evolving. And so there came a point where it was like people putting things up for the sake of putting things up, and not having any kind of
anything to add.
Or you know, like sometimes you see status updates where people are just writing something, and you think,
I mean, Joel, and you're thinking like,
do I really need to know that? Or like, do you really need to put that up? But anyway, you know, whatever people prefer, their preferences are. But and my dad used to always say to me, you know, you should be a bit active on social media. And je kuch matlab di gal hove, dasangi, you know. And so when this release came out, then I said, okay, now I've got something to talk about.
Right.
So I have now, over the last 4 weeks or so,
start getting a bit active.
I've been very active on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I had my account set up, and but it is quite overwhelming because you think, my God, you know, it can kind of, I can see how it takes people's lives over.
Yeah.
But thoda karna penda, but I think balance honi chahiye, definitely.
Are you constantly checking your phone now, like
no,
I am, like everyone else at home is?
I do find myself looking at it quite often,
right?
And then sometimes I think, okay, now you need to just put it away,
right?
Because, you know, focus that time on doing something a bit more creative, or, you know, spending it with like your family or whatever it may be. But like I said, balance hona chahiye thoda ja.
Has it helped you, social media? In the 4 weeks, have you seen like eda fayda hai ya eda nuksan hai ya ki hai?
I've seen benefits from it.
Right.
You know, obviously there's a large reach or large audience, which is great, you know. And like obviously you've got YouTube nowadays as well. In those days you didn't have YouTube.
No, kuch nahi siga.
Or you'd have the TV channels where you put your video. Bas wahi siga.
The only tube you had was in your TV. Troop chal gayi. Iska troop chal gayi. Ye TV di. And they pull the back off, and it was so big and lumpy.
Yeah, even the TVs,
They were huge. They were huge.
No, they're completely flat.
Now they're just flat and nippatly. I'm like thinking, right. And you could sit there on iPads and watch them on your phones.
Anything, exactly. Like now you go, any concert you go to, like when you're performing on stage, everyone's got their phones out filming, and next thing it's up on social media, you know.
I remember when your song came out, the one that was in Mumbai, Tenu Dekh Ke Mar Gaye Munde, right?
Yeah.
So I was living in Birmingham at the time, and I was like, oh, Ghana, you know, it's doing really good. And they were saying, well, they didn't have Sky. So I was living with a few Munde there, and they said, record karke. I had to record it on a VHS from London, and then bring it all the way to Birmingham, and then play it on their video.
Oh my God.
That's how they got to see your song. And like, now, that's all that's obsolete.
Yeah, now it's like obsolete. Now I
just share it.
Yeah, exactly.
YouTube.
Yeah, exactly.
So just for that, you know, I've seen that transition.
Yeah.
And then we're talking about that song. That was one of the, I think, first songs that I ever saw a UK female Bhangra artist. That was a hit in India.
Yeah.
Because that was all being shared on all the channels over there in India. And, you know, it was like a Bollywood feel to it.
Yes, yeah.
Whereas now a lot of females are breaking through. But at that time, I suppose that was a bold move.
It was. And, you know, that was my first album, the beginning, Akhiyan Vich Yaar Wasta. And when I released that album, actually, the story behind coming into the music industry, because I used to sing anyway.
Yeah.
But I remember I was speaking to my mum and dad, and I just said, you know, I've decided I want to make an album. And they both said, are you sure? I said, yeah, I want to make an album. And they said,
Acha. And
I'm the only child as well.
Yeah,
and then she said, and they both said, Acha, so English album. You know, like they assumed that I'm born and brought up in this country, and I'm going to say, Chal English album, you know, I'm going to do an English album. I said, no, what made you say that? It's a Punjabi album I want to do. And they both were like, really like pleasantly surprised. And I said, well, my dad, to see actually jo shuru kita, I want to continue that. You know, you decided to set up a LARP to promote Punjabi culture amongst the youngsters, and I want to continue that. I think that, you know, there's less representation of females, so I wanted to do that. So they said, okay, if you want to do it, it's not ke bas ek album karke, you know, you have to really focus. And I was really, really like determined. And then we made that album, and I was so excited because, again, first album, there was pressure. Everyone knew, you know,
and you want to make a good product. Right?
Good product. And then I had the opportunity that was released in India through a major record label.
Yeah, that was,
And I had the opportunity to go and shoot a video in Mumbai. And at that time, you wouldn't see many singers in their videos. So I was one of the kind of first to actually be in my own music video. And I went to Bombay, and it was like a film.
It was shot in a wedding sort of atmosphere.
There must have been about 150 people on the set.
Wow.
And I had my own kind of, you know,
makeup
and someone holding an umbrella over me. And it was like, my God, like this is how it is in the Bollywood industry. You know, it was really like an eye opener for me. But and then Akhiyan Vich Yaar Tenu Dekh Ke Mar Gaye Munde, that was a really, really big hit. And then came Kankan Deolle.
Yeah, that's right.
And then Stronger came Ki Dasa, you know, Rab Di Kasam. And through my albums, I've tried to show my versatility as a singer. So as well as doing the kind of dance numbers, as well, I can show that I can sing the slow ballads and in Hindi and other languages as well. So 3 albums back to back, you know, it was really, really hard work. And to make each album better than the first is what you kind of set your, you know, self against. So it has been hard. And I've learned, I work with my dad, but through these years, I've learned so much about composition myself, composing music and writing. And it's been a great experience, but I've learned so much.
Wow. ਸਾਡੀ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਮੁੰਨਾ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ ਨਾਲ, ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਦਾ ਸਿੰਗਲ ਕੋਕਾ ਸਿਲਵਰ ਦਾ ਆਊਟ ਹੈਗਾ। ਗੱਲ ਕਰ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਕਰੀਅਰ ਬਾਰੇ, ਬਹੁਤ ਹੋਰ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਆ ਐਂਡ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ, ਪਰ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਬ੍ਰੇਕ ਵੱਲ ਚੱਲੀਏ। ਸੋ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਕੋਕੇ ਸੈੱਟ ਕਰ ਲਓ।
Keep in touch with friends and family across Europe with Leica Mobile's new EU Plus bundle for only £35. EU Plus bundle gives you unlimited calls to the UK and Europe, 3 gigabytes of data and unlimited text to the UK. And the best news is your minutes, data and texts are valid when you travel to Leica Mobile countries. To buy this bundle, text 535 to 3535. Order your free SIM at leicamobile.co.uk today. Terms and conditions apply.
हिंदू धर्म विश्व का महान धर्म है. ब्रह्मा, विष्णु एंड महेश, क्रिएटर, प्रिजर्वर एंड डिस्ट्रॉयर. The world needs to know about Hinduism because it is not a religion, it's a way of life. Watch this on Let Us Talk Hinduism on MATV every Sunday 8:30.
Namaskar. Namaskar.
Namaste. I love India. So, travel a lot?
No, just on business.
You love India without experiencing it.
But I have experienced it right here on Air India. I always fly Air India.
Me too.
Now fly anywhere to anywhere. Earn and redeem miles via 27 Star Alliance partners. Air India, proud to be Indian, proud to be global.
राजनीति धार्मिक, आर्थिक, सामाजिक या कभी कभी अंतर्राष्ट्रीय. राजनीति के गलियारों में अलग अलग नुक्कड़ों पर व्यक्तियों के बीच, धार्मिक संस्थाओं के बीच, कभी कभी राष्ट्रों के बीच या कभी कभी व्यक्तिगत एक राजनीति लगातार चलती रहती है. और यही राजनीति हम लेके आ रहे हैं हर बुधवार शाम 7 बजे आपके MATV पर. देखना मत भूलिए राजनीति.
Pure Heaven. Non-alcoholic celebration drinks. All the fun without the alcohol. Pure Heaven. Make every moment a sparkling moment.
Now available at selected Tesco stores and Amazon.
वसीयतनामा और ट्रस्ट बनाने के साथ ही आप अपने परिवार और जायदाद की हिफाजत हमेशा के लिए कर सकते हैं. एबेकस विल्स एंड ट्रस्ट माहिर हैं. विल्स और ट्रस्ट लिखने में, इनहेरिटेंस टैक्स प्लानिंग और पावर ऑफ अटर्नी बनाने में. हमारी लीगल टीम आपकी कागजी कार्रवाई आपके हालात और ज़रूरत के मुताबिक बनाते हैं. आप ही की मदद करने के लिए हैं यहाँ on 0845 025 000.
ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਜੀ ਐਂਡ ਵੈਲਕਮ ਬੈਕ ਟੂ ਦ ਸ਼ੋ. ਗੱਲ ਸਾਡੀ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਜੀ ਮੋਨਾ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ ਨਾਲ, ਜਿਹਨੂੰ ਅਸੀਂ ਅਕਸਰ ਟੀਵੀ ਤੇ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਬਟ ਬੈਕ ਆਫਟਰ 6-year gap, ਜੋ ਇਹ ਦੱਸ ਰਹੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਕਿ now she just wanted to relax, I think, and do a few things of your own.
Exactly.
Rather than us do that. Have you seen like a change? You must have seen, right, in the 6-year gap, there's a lot of other artists आए तो उन्होंने अपना नाम बना लिया या जमा लिया. Some are even, you know, एक दो गाने गा के they're in Bollywood now. So you must have seen how quickly they've progressed. And did you ever think, well, no, hold on, मैं तो हम, you know, I haven't progressed as quickly, as fast as people, or I should have just carried on and I would have been there, or I need to give it a big push now. Has that ever gone through your mind or anything like that?
Never.
Right.
Never, because like I said, music's always been my passion, and I've always wanted to, as you know, take time on a product. Because to me, I'm a perfectionist actually, so it has to be not for the sake of releasing something, and it's not quantity. To me, it's the quality of the product. And again, that's an example from my dad. You know, every product he's released and the evergreen, basically, you know. So what I have seen is I've seen artists come and go very quickly, you know, and even the ones that have gone into India, India is such a huge market.
Oh, it's massive,
and everyone there wants to be a star. Everyone wants to be a star. And it's true, and that's, you know, as long as they can sing or dance or some kind of, you know, entertainment, they want to be a star. And there's so much talent there. And what I've seen is that, you know, people have gone there and they've had a good kind of
6 months, a year,
whatever it may be, and then it's the next person's turn, you know. That's it, then they're gone.
They eat you up very quickly, I
Very-
think, and
yes.
spin it out very quickly.
Yes.
So you might be flavour of the month for 6 months.
Yes.
But there's both cut people who are tikau
Yeah.
and who have stayed there like 10, 15 years.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And again, like you look at back in, maybe not that long ago, but you've seen a shift in Bollywood as well. Like before, all the films you'd see the same kind of names, the playback singers, the Sonu Nigams, or like the Sunidhi Chauhans. Even Sunidhi is still doing, but you'd have Alka Yagnik and all these names you'd have. And now every film has a song by a different artist, and you just can't keep up. There's so many, which is great that there's new talent, but it's about that kind of,
See, for me, it's like now. So I'd sit at home and we'd say all songs sound the same now, right? So, but we grew up in an area, I was born in the era of like Kishore Kumar, it's a refugee, Kishore Kumar. And then, like you said, you have Sonu Nigam, Kumar Sanu, Udit Narayan. So they're like Jawani, they're gone, heyday gone, right? So the Ashikis and,
the Shah Rukh films.
Shah Rukh films. So you've got that. And now you get to a new music and I'm always listening, what? Sonu da gana nahi aaya, bahut chir ho gaya. Where's Kumar Sanu? Such a powerful, good singer. Oh, where's Udit Narayan's songs? And now it's about, like, I suppose, Palak Muchal and Arijit, and so you look at these people, Rahman Malik, and then you think, right, well, they're more like rockers and rock songs, and the shift has changed.
Yes, it has
and
changed.
You could say, like, but enne variya jo rag and sur ch gaunde a, sur te leh ch gaunde a, like Sonu and Kumar, they're nowhere to be seen. So you just think, have people's tastes changed? And how are even guys like this who were around for 20, 30 years, how are they having trouble competing with the new guys, right? So, I mean, it is, in a way, you're right, it's such a big shift.
It is a big shift, but I think it will come around. And again, it's like, this is what I see is the Bhangra music scene in the UK.
Yeah.
It started off with the bands.
Yeah, live bands.
Live bands. Yeah. That was the scene, that was the Bhangra scene. Yeah. Then it moved to DJs, which DJs are still kind of dominating the scene, to be fair. Yeah. And then you've got your solo artists. But you are seeing some of that live scene coming back.
Maybe I'm seeing a lot of it going back.
Yeah, and I think, it kind of, how things come in trends, like your bell bottoms and your flares and your platforms, in fashion. I think things will come around.
Because, we started off with the Alaaps, the Premis, Apna Sangeets, Malkeet Singh Ji and, Mangal Singh Ji. So you'd have that, and then the DJs took over. Then you had a period where, I call it the Miss Pooja phase, where, she dominated everything. And then now we're getting singers from India who are more popular. So like your Sherry Mans and your Ami Verks, so people like Mankirat. So I'm just thinking, but where is the UK talent gone? Especially the female talent. So, I mean, long time ago, back in the days, when you first started on the scene, I think at that time I only really knew of about maybe 3 singers. One was Sangeeta, who was like, when we were really young, Pyar Da Hai Very Zamana Sajna, and that's still a good song.
Yeah, it's a good song,
right? And then Mangal Singh Ji's do Amar, so, and yourself, right? So, and then come now, we haven't really, we haven't got 100 or 200 female artists. We get males here all the time trying their bit, and but not really anyone who sticks around. It's more the producers have become a lot more popular, I think.
You're right.
And people are then, for live entertainment, people are still phoning up people like your dad, right?
Yeah,
so they're still phoning up, "Je live karna nahi fir ta assi Channi Singh ji hona nu sadna nahi fir ta ji Sardar Bhaji nu phone karde hain ya ji Shin nu phone karde hain." Yeah, so it's like that. It's like even with the development of bands, there are bands, but the singers are from India.
Yes.
And so where are the UK-born stuff? Apart from, I would say, maybe people like Jazz Dummy, who could perhaps do a bit of both. And then I haven't really seen the progression there.
No, you're right. And that's what I was saying. That's what I was seeing over these few years that I've kind of been away from the scene, is the number of artists that are emerging from India. And the kind of scene is dominated by artists from India. The Indian music scene, that's how it seems to be. And I don't know whether it's, I don't know what the answer is, to be honest, but I think in terms of female artists from the UK. I think there are a few now.
There's Jasmine Sandler. She's just done a couple of tunes in Bollywood, I think. Kanika was here for a little while, and she's quite, she's very big now. There, and there's a few ladies here sing.
Yeah.
A lady called Anna who sings. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
but I'm talking about UK born and bred.
Born
and bred in the UK. Living in UK is different.
I only know a few.
Yeah.
I only know you. I'm gonna still.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So I'm talking about born and bred in the UK and promoting Punjabi music.
Yeah.
How many are there? I couldn't tell you, But I think the ones, a few recent ones that have come onto the scene that I've heard about, it's good that you're doing it, but I think you need to find your own identity basically and follow that, because there's in India you've got a lot of female artists coming out, and I think you should not be trying to copy or imitate them. It should be your own style. That's what I would say. But I don't know why there's not more coming out of the UK.
Why did you think, right, after 6 years, I've got to do this single? Was it just, were you bored? Or did you think, you know what, there's not much out there, I need to do it? Or did you think, this is my passion, this is something I'm always going to do? Are we going to see you singing at the age of 60 and releasing stuff?
I hope so, yeah, if I look the same still.
Don't worry, Sergeant John this side.
Well, like my dad's been going for all these years. It's actually Alap's 40th year this year. 40 years in the industry is a long time, and
recently got a lifetime achievement.
He's
got loads of them.
Yeah, he has got a few. And he's got his OBE for his services to music, which is such a great achievement. So I hope that I can continue for as long as I can. But I want to focus on doing good stuff. So I don't want to just release something for the sake of saying, oh, she hasn't released something for this song. But you have to feel right mentally, and to be able to create something which you wholeheartedly believe in and think, yeah, this is something that I really want to release. So when after 6 years, ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਬੈਠ ਕੇ ਗੱਲ ਕੀਤੀ, I kind of, like I said, in those 6 years I was doing projects but nothing commercial like this. So I think there just came a point, ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਸੀਗੇ, and I sort of said, I've always wanted to work with Jatinder Shah. He's an amazing music director, and watch so many Punjabi films and you hear his music with Gurdas Manji and Diljit Dosanjh and Sartinder Sartaaj. There's so many greats he's done music for. And we were talking, and I said I've always wanted to work with him, and if I am going to release something, it'd be great if I could do something with him. And and then it just sort of happened that through my dad's contacts, and then Kumar, who's a massive writer in Bollywood behind Chitti Uncle Laiya and Kala Chashma and all these big songs, and he sort of just played us a bit of a mukda of the Ghana Koka Silver da. He'd written a few lines, and the minute I'd heard it, I was like, you know what, I can do this. I can visualize it, and it was the type of song that was commercial, and it kind of had all the elements in it that I was looking for. And I thought, you know what, I got really excited, and I was like, chalo Ghana banaiye. And then we had Jatinder Shah on board and Kumar on board, and then me and my dad, we worked on getting the song, like composition, etc. And then we just working in the studio, and that's what, then the momentum just became, that it just evolved from there, and it became what it is. So then when the song was finished, I was like, jaldi jaldi release karo, I just want it out there now, But then I had to make the video. There's a great director, Sandeep Sharma from India. He did the video shoot. We went to a small village in Rajasthan. They uthe video si banai si. So then that whole process took about 6-7 months or so. It could have been done quicker, but again, taking my time and making sure it's all perfect. And then so it was released a couple of weeks ago.
Are you going to release a lot more stuff now?
Yes.
Frequently? Or are you going to think, right, okay, Jaya leg in now, I'm going to have another break?
No, no, I am going to release more stuff. We're already working on new material. So there will be more things coming out. I think I've had a long rest. I've had a long rest.
Yeah, 6 years is a long time. So, I mean, is there anyone now you're thinking, right, because a lot of names now out there that perhaps weren't around 6 years ago. So you're thinking, right, I'd really like to work with him, or I'd really like to work with that. Or is your music generally restricted to like working with your dad?
No, not really. I think this is the first kind of project where we've had two totally different people in two different fields work on a track. You know, my dad's always like, he's written 90% of my songs from my previous albums. And he's a genius lyricist. And we've worked together compositions there, and you know, this project here, Goka Silverda, was something different for both of us. It was something new that we hadn't tried before, but I'm open to working with any artist as long as we complement each other musically and vocally. And I mean, there's some great artists around at the moment, like Diljit Dosanjh. I'm a huge fan. So you know, I did the duet with the Lab Janjoaji. That was a great opportunity for me, you know.
And he was a great bloke.
He was such a great character.
And a funny guy.
Really funny. We did a tour in Muscat together, and we had such a good time. And then we did the video shoot for Sadi Marzi in Jaipur. Again, see, 4-5 din katthe sige. We had such a great time. And then when he was recording in our studio at home, he was such a lovely man, man. And it was a great honor for me to work with him.
And he was someone who you wouldn't have thought would have made it in Bollywood, right? Conventionally, if you'd heard him sing in Punjab, and you'd think, nah, man. But it was amazing. So, look at this. You just don't know who's going to be a hit in Bollywood, do you?
You don't know. And like you say, you know, the way music is now, it is very different from those kind of romantic style of music in Bollywood that was there before. But let's see, I think I have got faith that it will come around. I've got faith.
Is any of your music inspired by English music? Or do you stick generally to Hindi music and Punjabi music? Because your dad is inspired by Hindi music a lot.
He's done a Muhammad Rafi fan.
And he's done a couple of films as well.
He has, yes. Yalgar,
and Shaktiman.
Janishin, he did. I think it has always been, I mean, I love Michael Jackson. I'm a huge Michael Jackson fan. So from my childhood, he was my biggest kind of like
idol.
I used to do all the dance moves and wear the fedora and the silver sparkly socks. But
you can still do the moves.
I can still do the dance moves. But growing up, because I had Punjabi music around me, you know, listening to Alap, and then we used to listen to all the greats, you know, Ustad Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan, Noor Jahan, and all the Muhammad Rafi ji, all of the greats. We always have their music on at home, and that's what I grew up listening to. Asha ji has been the biggest, I think, female vocalist inspiration to me. I watched her when recording with my dad when she did Cham Cham Nachi Di Fira. So that was such a great experience. You know, I met her and I got to see how she works in the studio, and just amazing. She's such a versatile artist, and that's what I took from her: versatility, her ability to just, you know, sing kind of like a ballad, sing something classical, sing cabaret, Punjabi, all different languages. So like that was such a big kind of inspiration for me. But when I was growing up singing, I started singing from Salma Agha ji's song, Dil Ke Armaan Aansu Mein Beh Gaye. That was my very first song.
From Nikah.
And then I used to sing Asha ji's songs, I used to sing Noor Jahan songs. So just those were the kind of artists I used to listen to growing up.
There are a lot of ballads, really.
That's the type of music I like, and I love dancing. I love to dance. So, you know, anything that has a good beat, I'm on the dance floor. So that's where the Bhangra style, you know, and obviously my dad's Bhangra is, again, very melodious, and it's not that, you know.
It's not really heavy on the door.
But and that's what I've always grown up listening. So I like the compositions, I like the melodies. That's what I like.
Before, like, you know, so when the live bands were in the heyday, we used to go to gigs, right? And we used to see places like Hammersmith Palais packed out, you know, Bagley's Warehouse packed out. And when I'm talking about packed out, I'm not talking about 200 or 300 people on a dinner and dance. We're talking 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 people. You know, who'd come and, you know, would go there, and there'd be a battle of the bands, and, you know, these lot were a lot younger then. But you know, you could see that you don't get that anymore, right? And I'm sure you must have been to a few, and you must have. It seems that all seems to have fizzled out now.
We were having this conversation just a few weeks ago, a few friends, that, you know, a few years ago, you'd see a lot of gigs happening where you've got bands performing and stuff. That's all died down now. And
you'd go to Kudos in Watford, the
Yeah.
Dome in Birmingham, Brannigan's, MGM's, and
Yeah.
you know, Crystals. Listen, I
was just gigging all the time.
Listen, I went to every single gig.
No, you're right,
Daytime,
though.
nighttime, all the time.
You're right. And
it was like a big sort of and all the people there, it was all UK bands.
Yes.
Right, so it was all UK bands.
Yeah.
You'd never had a singer from India.
No.
Right, I don't know whether that was just the style then. So now all the concerts that you see is people from India.
India,
right?
yeah.
So the odd occasion you might have a Legends gig, but now you know it seems the game's changed totally.
It
and
has
the
changed.
live band scene is now there for singers from India.
Yeah.
And maybe the bands are just reserved to weddings now. And it seems as if it's really gone in reverse.
It's such a change. It's from what I've grown up watching and listening to. It is a big change. Even what I've seen on TV, you know, the kind of music videos there are, or the type of music production there is. So much has changed. So much has changed. So, yeah, I think maybe people's tastes have changed, or people are trying to become more mainstream. You know, it's how people kind of. What's the word? You know, like it's their reflection of what kind of music they want to produce or how they want to portray themselves. Yeah.
Well, okay. ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਜੀ ਮੋਨਾ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ ਨਾਲ ਅਸੀਂ ਹੋਰ ਵੀ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਪਰ ਪਹਿਲੇ ਜਾਣਾ ਬ੍ਰੇਕ ਆ ਮਿਲਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਬ੍ਰੇਕ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ
Keep in touch with friends and family across Europe with Leica Mobile's new EU Plus bundle for only £35. EU Plus bundle gives you unlimited calls to the UK and Europe, 3 gigabytes of data and unlimited text to the UK. And the best news is your minutes, data and texts are valid when you travel to Leica Mobile countries. To buy this bundle, text 535 to 3535. Order your free SIM at leicamobile.co.uk today. Terms and conditions apply.
Namaskar. Namaskar.
Namaste. I love India.
So, travel a lot?
No, just on business.
You love India without experiencing it.
But I have experienced it right here on Air India. I always fly Air India.
Me too.
Now fly anywhere to anywhere. Earn and redeem miles via 27 Star Alliance partners. Air India. Proud to be Indian. Proud to be global.
राजनीति धार्मिक, आर्थिक, सामाजिक या कभी कभी अंतर्राष्ट्रीय। राजनीति के गलियारों में अलग अलग नुक्कड़ों पर व्यक्तियों के बीच, धार्मिक संस्थाओं के बीच, कभी कभी राष्ट्रों के बीच या कभी कभी व्यक्तिगत एक राजनीति लगातार चलती रहती है। और यही राजनीति हम लेके आ रहे हैं हर बुधवार शाम 7 बजे आपके एमए टीवी पर। देखना मत भूलिए राजनीति।
Okay, to make you understand, I've changed my voice to talk to you in an adult fashion. Because to you, I'm just a child. So hear me out, seriously. As you can see, I'm pretty healthy. Unlike some other children in my country, who have to depend on people like you. So let me get to the point. I may not be able to spell malnutrition, but I know what it means. And I know it's not good. It only takes 10 pounds to feed one child for 1 whole year. Did you know that? Obviously not. Food for thought.
वसीयतनामा और ट्रस्ट बनाने के साथ ही आप अपने परिवार और जायदाद की हिफाजत हमेशा के लिए कर सकते हैं। एबेकस विल्स एंड ट्रस्ट माहिर हैं विल्स और ट्रस्ट लिखने में, इनहेरिटेंस टैक्स प्लानिंग और पावर ऑफ अटर्नी बनाने में। हमारी लीगल टीम आपकी कागजी कार्रवाई आपके हालात और जरूरत के मुताबिक बनाते हैं। आप ही की मदद करने के लिए हैं यहाँ ऑन 0845 025 000।
ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਜੀ ਐਂਡ ਵੈਲਕਮ ਟੂ ਦ ਸ਼ੋ। ਗੱਲ ਸਾਡੀ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ ਮੋਨਾ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ ਨਾਲ, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸਿੰਗਲ ਕੋਕਾ ਸਿਲਵਰ ਦਾ ਰਿਲੀਜ਼ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ, ਰਿਲੀਜ਼ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ, ਐਂਡ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਕਰੀਅਰ ਬਾਰੇ। ਸ਼ੀ ਇਜ਼ ਬੈਕ ਆਫਟਰ ਅ ਬ੍ਰੇਕ। Mona, we were talking about why a lot of young ladies haven't made it, or they've done one song and they've just dropped out. How hard is it to make a living out of this? Because there's only a very few artists who make a full-time living out of this, right? Bakiyan de jinne bhi, when I talk to say मैं कुमार भाजी दा या बलविंदर धामी भाजी दा हीरा ग्रुप तो गल करदा या प्रेमी भाजी नाल जोड़ना, oh you talk to your dad, they always say जी साडे लई ते असीं नाल दी नाल काम भी कीता एयरपोर्ट ते असीं ਨਿਆਣੇ ਵੀ ਪਾਲੇ ਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਕੰਮ ਕੀਤਾ, and for us we had to do all of that ਕਿ ਇਹ ਸਰਨਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਜੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਜੌਬ ਕਰਦੇ। Is it still the same? Is that the same for you? So if I'm saying to you, Mona, can you make a full-time career out of it, or do you need to be working as a safety net?
I think I've always thought of it very sensibly. I've been practical and sensible about it. That many people, again, chasing the limelight and chasing this dream कि मैं स्टार बनना, मैं आ करना, सारा कुछ बस छड़ के आई करना, and then reality hits. The Bhangra industry in itself in the UK I would say is very small compared to when you're comparing to the likes of Bollywood. Bollywood is huge. You're talking on a different scale. And then mainstream is again a different scale. You can't really compare them.
You can't compare Bhangra artists with Ed Sheeran.
No.
Right. No. So it's not going to happen at this stage.
At this stage. So my dad, through his music career, he used to work as well and do the music and have a family, run a family at the same time. And many artists have done that because you can't just rely on it solely. I wouldn't say the Bhangra
Not artists, in the UK you can't.
Not in the UK. You're traveling around doing your shows, touring, that's great. But I wouldn't say to somebody that just leave your day job and just pack it all in and just focus on that. To me, like I say, music is my passion, so it's always been something that I've got anyway.
Right.
But I wouldn't give up my day job for it. I have had offers to go and live out in India, where it's a different field completely. And there, I would say, then you would have to give up your job to go and live out there and do your music. But how long that would last, you don't know.
When we look at superstars, the UK Bhangra scene superstars, you look at Jazzy B, Sukhinder Shindaji, you look at the Legends group, you look at someone like Malkeet Singh, and you think, okay, where is the female equivalent of that? The only female equivalent I can think of is Miss Pooja, and she's not a UK-based superstar, right? So why is that? Is there a lot more pressure on females, or do you think that females have to go the extra mile to sell their product, or is there a lot more expectations, or are they a bit scared, like get a scene? Nias feels because they think of what our parents going to think, what our brother's going to think, what our sister's going to think.
I don't think it's about being scared about that. I think if you portray yourself in the right way, I've seen videos and there's girls that you have very nice, respectable videos, and then you have other videos where girls are hardly wearing anything, and that I can see where families
get the more hits.
But I can see parents and families saying, if you're thinking you're going into music industry and doing that, you can forget it, But I've seen lots of music videos where girls are dressed respectably, and there's nothing wrong in that. That's great. But I think in the UK it is very much a male-dominated industry, and I think maybe the females need more encouragement from the likes of the media as well. I think they play a big part, be it radio, TV, the record labels, I think there should be more encouragement from these various sources in the media to help promote. And I think what you see is a lot more promotion of the male artists, and there should be maybe more encouragement for the female artists, and I think maybe that would encourage more females to come into the scene. I don't know, this is my personal opinion, but I couldn't tell you why there aren't an equivalent of a Jazzy B or in the female UK female music scene. I couldn't tell you.
Just doesn't seem to have happened, right?
It hasn't happened, and I think maybe it's because they probably do it full time. full-time music. I don't know.
So if there's girls out there now who think, right, we want to sing as well, and I'm sure there's quite a few kudiyan out there pressurising their parents saying, look, Essie, we're going to join now and we want to try this and we think we're good enough. What sort of tips would you give them?
I would say, definitely...
Apart from don't do it.
No. I would say, if you've got a passion for something, definitely follow it through. Because, it's a skill, it's a talent. You shouldn't just hide it away. You should definitely pursue it. But surround yourself with good people. Have good guidance. And don't fall into traps where you just go along with what people are telling you. Get the right advice. And again, be sensible, balance your life, and I wouldn't just jump into it head first, but definitely pursue it if it's your passion.
Where do you go to learn? I mean, for you, I suppose you had your family, right?
Yes.
And you sat in the middle of all these legends performing, right? So where does someone who doesn't have that background, where do they go to learn? How do we know where to go to learn? Or do we just look at other videos and then have a crack?
There are so many people that actually listen or practice listening to their favourite songs.
I'm going to turn
No, but there are lots of people that have learnt that way, to be honest. So many people have learnt that way. But there are places that teach singing lessons, we get so many inquiries at our house. We get phone calls to say, can you please teach us? But there are places where they do classes.
So why isn't there specialist academies set up for this sort of stuff?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
Surely that would work though, right? Because you see everyone, and one criticism is, then the answer to that is educate, right?
But I think the problem then is it's the support for that.
The funding and
that, and that's where it is. It's very easy to say, I want to set it up. Exactly. That's the problem. That's the problem. Yeah, that's the thing. And if you want to have these facilities, then you need that support behind it.
You need to be willing to pay, I suppose. And then if you have the money, then you can go to hire the top people.
I know a lot of artists that have actually travelled to India and stayed there for 3-6 months and learnt from there, singing properly, because they have these places where you go and you literally train every day, morning to night. That's all you do there. But there aren't very many places in the UK. I know that you have classes where you can learn vocal coaching and stuff like that, but it's not the same as out in India.
What about videos? How important is it to keep a video classy, or how do you keep it classy with the demands nowadays? Because respectable doesn't seem to sell right nowadays. It's all about.
I think it does. Yeah. I think it does, but then it depends who the viewer is.
Yeah, I suppose.
And I think for me, it's always been something you can sit with your family and watch. And I get so much feedback from fans. I've got fans from young as 3 years old up to 80 something years old, and it's so nice to hear that we can actually there's somebody that met my dad a couple of days ago. He was parked up at the traffic lights and he says to my dad, roll your window down, and my dad was thinking, what's going on? So he rolled his window down and he goes, बहुत वधिया पारिवारिक वीडियो थोड़ी लड़की ने बनाई है, I can sit with my family and watch it, and it's fantastic, and we had such nice feedback. And I want something like that to encourage a young girl to say, I want to make a video like that, but I tell you an example. When I did my video Ki Dasan, I was in Bombay and I was working on the film set, and they said to me, they're talking about costumes, and they said, I think you should wear hot pants in the video. And I was like, I don't think so. And I don't see the need for me to dress like that to sell my music. And he was like, no, I think I said, no, I'm not wearing them. So I refused.
So you put your foot down.
I put my foot down, but I can see how
others get caught up in the trap.
Can get caught up in it, or might think that my music might sell more if I dress like this. I think you should stick to your guts, and you should follow how you want to represent yourself. If you want to represent yourself in a certain way, then go for it.
Along with now fans and positive comment, with social media, you bring along, there's a lot of negative comments as well. In the olden days, if you're playing on stage and someone didn't like you, you wouldn't really know about it. Yeah, or your jutty would come flying out, or a bottle would come flying out, or a beer glass or something, And until that really happened, you was pretty safe, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, no one would come up to you, to your face, and say, "Maine thoda gana nahi changa laga, ya tusi ye bahut bura gaune hain," something like that. You'd only get people who, say that. Now with social media, you've got people who are negative and are in your face, right? So they might not have a face, or they might not have a name, but their comments are there, and their comments are real, and they're in your face, and some are spiteful, some are hurtful. How do you deal with that? How do you deal with the negative comments? I mean, is there a way to deal with it? Because surely when someone says something, it must hurt. Or doesn't it? Or do you just have to condition yourself to think, right?
You know what? Like I said, I've not been very active on social media.
So you just don't check it?
No, I don't. No, but
which is a good way, really.
It is, but I think if you're dealing with that kind of stuff, it can affect you.
Yeah.
It's just natural. It's natural that how can someone make a comment like that, or
without knowing you,
without knowing you,
comments,
or anything like that. But at the end of the day, and this is from my network of friends, they always say if you're going to get people give you negative comments, haters are always going to be haters.
Right.
And if they've taken out the time and energy to write something negative, you made some sort of an impact.
At least I watched it. Thanks for the view.
Thanks for the view, exactly. But I think it's just natural to feel upset or take it to heart. But you don't know them, they don't know you. You move on. You just let it go.
Is it something just part and parcel of?
I guess so.
Is.
Yeah, I guess so.
Because you wouldn't get that in any other job, right? You don't get that in your banking job, where people say, right, I'm never going to go to your till again.
If you say no to someone, if they want something, I'm sure you get comments.
Probably do, yeah. Just on the phone. But so it doesn't happen in any other field of life.
I think, again, social media, you've got people sitting behind a screen. It's very easy to just type whatever you want or make your comments. And it's different when you're face to face. But that's the world of the digital world we live in nowadays.
And do you think that puts pressure on you a bit more? Do you think you're more now in the public's eye and you're more out there and you realise, you know what, if someone doesn't like you or they do like you, you're going to hear about it?
Yes.
So automatically, I'm sure you must have had loads of WhatsApp messages when your single came out, right? Yeah. But then, equally, you're going to get that. So do you think that has put a lot more pressure on you, right?
I don't look at it like that, because to me, again, it's like, I'm doing that for the purpose of X, and now I need to concentrate on the next project.
What is the next step then? Because releasing albums now, releasing singles, I would say you've done the Bollywood sort of thing because you was there before anyone else was, right? So, so what is the next sort of step now?
I want to do obviously my dad's done a lot of film music direction. Yeah. I want to do more in singing. I'm always going to do my own stuff, but I'd like to do more in terms of production
and directing.
And directing.
Searching for new talent.
Searching for new talent. Yes. Exactly.
Why don't you do that? Why don't you search for females and bring them out?
Yeah, I think
that'd be brilliant. That'd be a brilliant endeavour.
I think that's brilliant. Yeah. Very good. Very good idea. No, honestly, because
when you become a millionaire, thank me for it.
No, I think you're right, because I don't think in this country there are as many opportunities for female artists as there might be in India.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah, because you've shown it can be done, right? So you are up there, regardless of how you react or where you feel.
Yeah.
You are in that position. When people talk about UK's Bhangra female artists, they do think of Mona Singh, right?
Yeah.
So
and I kind of sometimes I think back, have I been in the industry that long? And I have, I've been there. My first album was released in 2001.
Yeah.
So it's been a long kind of journey. I think that's what I'd like to do next, is either nurture new talent, production, because I'm doing a lot more in terms of composition, and I really enjoy that. Earlier on, when I first started, I'd rely on my dad, to do that. But I'm doing my own compositions now, which is such a great feeling when you've got a song together and you think, my God, I'd put that together.
Mona, Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you so much for having
Time's up,
me.
but yeah, thank you that you've come, and we wish you luck.
Thank you.
Coca Silver, those out on iTunes and everywhere else
It
that
is,
is usually
yeah,
out.
yes.
So, and to Deco and download legally.
Download legally. It
So-
did make it to #1 in the UK
There you
world
go, there you
music
go.
iTunes chart. So yeah,
Definitely.
keep supporting.
And
Download
we
now.
Wish you the best for the future. We look forward
Thank
to you coming on again.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So, ਅੱਜ ਦਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਇੰਨਾ ਹੀ ਸੀਗਾ। ਮੇਰੇ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਤੇ ਮੋਨਾ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ